Oh, ho, ho. Brothers and sisters, I have probably one of the most important messages to put out there in my history of being a follower of Christ, okay? I'd say there's 2 or 3 significant times, and this is probably the 3rd or 4th, okay? You guys, I'm going to be exposing some demons, God willing, okay? That confirmation after confirmation, the Lord has finally brought me to a very high level of understanding what's going on here, okay? And you guys, I'm just going to give you a little briefing of what is to come, God willing, okay? I need to get all my stuff down, okay? Because this is all good for our discernment, okay? This is all exercising that discernment, because when you know the origin of something, then you know what to be cautious of, okay? Okay? Let's just think for a minute, okay? How has the time sped up? How has our time been divided? What is our life consisted of? Okay? Why can't we find time with the Lord? Think about this throughout history. Okay? Because chances are that when something is getting shoved down your throat, it means that it's not from God. Okay? God is a gentleman. God does not do these things. Okay? Okay, so I'm gonna give you a doozy, and I'm gonna give you the origin of where this all comes from, and it pretty much stems from Catholic churches, okay? And I don't want to do that. I'm gonna make it a little more broad, okay? But anybody who's coming with a force, we know that there's something behind it that is devilish. And the Christian Crusaders, let me just go out on a whim and say, hey, they were not Christians, okay? Not true believers in Christ, okay? There are 2 branches that came from this abomination, okay? That has destroyed mankind and led to a birthing of everything that we know today, okay? And these 2 things are education, aka brainwashing, and what has become of that, how much knowledge is being forced down our throats, how we can never have enough, how we work and work and work and work to work, okay? Like, we work so hard in school, and then we have to pay for college, and then after we get out of college, we're lucky to, our student loans exceed the jobs that we're able to even get sometimes, like the money that we get paid annually. So it's just it's a rabbit hole of torment and tribulation, really. Some people work their whole lives to get to good colleges, and it's really just a slap in the face. Really, it is. Okay? So our lives have consisted of schooling to get a good job, and then our jobs have taken over our lives. Okay? Taken over. Secondly, medical. Okay? Medical. Medical has destroyed us. Okay? And I'm sorry, but I have to put it out there because I've seen so many people that have struggled with depression. My family struggles from depression. My family struggles from just, they like have issues with, depression and anxiety and high blood pressure. My grandfather died of liver disease, which he was not a drinker. And it was due to medication. It was due to the medication poisons people. And honestly, you cannot look me in the face and honestly tell me it doesn't. I have argued with doctors. Like, I pick my battles very wisely, and I have found myself within the last 7 years arguing for dear life when it comes to medical. Okay? I suffer from thalassemia minor. I've gone to the doctor with symptoms, telling them that I feel like I'm gonna faint. I'm extremely anemic. It's chronic anemia. Like, it's a blood mutation, you know? And my father has sickle cell. Like, I suffer. And these doctors will look me square in the face and tell me there's no symptoms to thalassemia. And then I look them square in the face and I tell them, what did you go to school for? Because I'm telling you what the symptoms are, and you're telling me there are no symptoms. I just told you what my symptoms are. Okay? I don't like talking about doctors and scientists because I get hyped when I talk about those people. I've been through hell with these people. Okay? They are scam artists to the max. They're the worst car salesmen. They're the worst scam artists. They are terrible people. Okay? I really thought it was a military doctors. Some of the worst doctors I have ever dealt with in my entire life have been just regular doctors. Okay? Army doctors, every type of doctor in the world. And I've been all around the world, you guys. Seen it from every angle. You know what they're talking about in Italy with all these coronavirus deaths? I have news. I have been there because I needed stitches right there. And they were incompetent. They did not know what they were doing. They didn't even know how to stitch me up. They wanted me to wait 3 days for a plastic surgeon to stitch up a small gash. I ended up taking care of it myself. Okay? That's a long story. I don't even want to talk about that story. I was there for like 9 hours with a concussion. Okay? Incompetence. Incompetence. And I'm going to say it over and over again. Nobody has mastered the human body. Nobody knows the human body. Nobody knows space, time, nothing. God has created all these things. And scientists and medical physicians are always baffled, quote unquote. It's no surprise that you're baffled. This is not your area of expertise. This is God's area. He's the healer, okay? They've done nothing but make things worse. So we're coming to a head now, to where people are awakening, whatever. Call it the Enlightenment, New Age era, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? God created all things first, and then, you know, Satan tries to pervert it. It doesn't matter what type of believer you are at this point. Everybody sees it with their eyes, and if you don't see it, you're just blind. Okay, those are the fools that God talks about in the Bible. You don't want to see it if you can't see it right now, clearly. So, and if you're mocking it, that's even more foolish. If you do see it and you mock it. We're at a stage right now where people are starting to see that they can't trust the government. They can't trust the doctors. They can't trust the teachers. And I have news, you know, Jesus told us that there would be false prophets. And this one I'm going to talk about later. A prophet might not necessarily be what we think it is, okay? It can be, but there's another meaning that I'm going to talk about. It could be just someone that comes and says, I can save you from this. I can save you, okay? We've had many false prophets, leaders, okay? Technology can save us. These weapons of mass destruction can save us. These vaccinations can save us. That is a false prophet, my friends, okay? And then we also have people who come and they're just, these scientists are false prophets, my friends. These presidents, these lawmakers, these teachers, it all leads back to one origin. And if you read other historical documents like Josephus, and a lot of other scholars from back in those days, I don't know if a later Babylon, which was called Babylonia, was possibly in Italy, But I will tell you that they also call themselves something like the Pharisees as well, okay? It all links back to them. And Jesus said, do not call anyone your father or your teacher, okay? And guess what? When you look into the etymology of pope, it means father. When you look into the etymology of just all the titles behind this pope, it means teacher, okay? And these are the people that took down every religion, and they have falsified Christianity, and they've perverted it, and they have taken over. And I'm going to be talking about how we are under Roman law. If you look at our calendar and all these things that follow, all these symbols that are around us, and where this derived from, and what cathedrals actually were. They were education or concentration camps, really. Okay? How they mixed medical science and chemistry, and someone spoke about being alchemism. They were alchemists, they were wizards, they were warlocks, and they were on a mission to change the world as we know it today. And I believe that this changing, or this manifestation, or this fullness resided in a country that we now call the USA, okay? I truly believe, you guys, that when America began, when it was formed, and it was under contracts, which I really want to I talked about how contracts are a binding, okay? It was a religion and a form of witchcraft to sign your name. It was a declaration of an oath, okay? I'm trying to state that America, since it was birthed, that's when time really sped up, you guys. They were the first to go into space, whether you believe it or not. It was documented by them. They are the youngest. We are the youngest country, and we're the superpower. We call the shots. I mean, don't you think that something's weird there? Something strange? And I feel a jealousy factor from all the other countries, okay? My friends, I highly believe that the Pharisees and the Sadducees, of course, they're worldwide, and they have their leaders everywhere. But I feel like the chief is in the US of A. Quick fun fact. Did you know that pizza came from the Persians? It is a flat piece of bread that we all know as unleavened bread all over the Middle East. So that would mean that they would have migrated from the Middle East up north, possibly. Or maybe they took on, I don't know, some belief systems and some cooking techniques from down south, and then added cheese to it with some tomato sauce and some other things that they normally eat over there. In history, the only people that really ate cheese like that was India and the Europeans, because nobody else had a tolerance really for milk items. A lot of people had lactose intoleration. The Europeans had a stomach made of steel.